Ah, the nightcap, so to speak. Stanford at Hawaii. Line of this one is down to Hawaii minus 2.5. Game total of 50.5. Okay. Um, if you were paying attention when the lines first opened, this actually opened at Stanford minus 8.5. However, the day before, I believe the day before spring practice started, they fired their coach Troy Taylor, and Andrew Luck, the athletic, CEO, athletic director, whatever his title is at Stanford, had to go out and find himself a coach. So he went and got Frank Reich. So Frank Reich is coming in on short notice. They lost a ton of the portal because they fired their coach and nobody wanted to, play for a mystery coach. So a bunch of the majority of their top players kind of transferred out, kind of matriculated, to other schools throughout the nation. So Stanford is coming in with a coach that was coming off of his couch and a depleted roster, and they have to travel to Hawaii to face Timmy Chang in year three. It these Hawaii teams each year Timmy Chang has been at the helm of Hawaii. The teams have gotten better. There was noticeable in the first year. They started off really rough when he took the program over. Kind of took the program over in a similar fashion to what Frank Reich inherited at Stanford when they pushed out their previous coach in the spring and needed to hire somebody. They turned to Hawaii legend Timmy Chang. Um, and there was it's obvious that Timmy Chang is a dog. Okay, he gets his teams up for these games, all right? And you saw the difference from the first game of year one to the end of year one. They didn't get necessarily better at football, but they got more physical. They got more physical, and they knew where they were supposed to be. So if nothing else, there was coaching there. He got his guys to play hard, and he got his guys to know their assignments. Okay. Same thing with year two. They started off a lot better in year two than they did in year one. A lot better. He had another year of transfer portal, his recruits, his guys, another year in the system. They had a senior quarterback, which was nice. Um, so in year two, you actually did see a fair bit of improvement, especially throughout the season. His teams definitely get stronger, as the season goes on. Um, and the only area of concern is that they have a redshirt freshman at quarterback this year. They lost their super senior in Braden Shager. They're starting Micah Alahado is the starting quarterback for Hawaii. He did get a couple starts at the end of last year. He's played in some games, so he's not, he's a redshirt freshman. He's not a true freshman, but he's definitely, I think he's only like 19 years old, something like that. What's good for him is they have a really deep receiver core. Redshirt junior Profeli Ashlock is one of the best receivers that's ever been in the program. Um, uh, Nick Senecal, senior receiver, is featured in the team for the last couple of years. Up and down that offensive line, seniors. So they have a younger quarterback, but he's surrounded by veterans in that offense. I think that's really going to help him, especially considering especially considering they've been the majority of the seniors have been in this program for a couple of years. They've got a few seasons under their belt with the same offense. Alahado's come up in this offense, but he hasn't been playing as much in this offense. But so I think there might be a bit of a learning curve. I'm not expecting it for this game. I love this Hawaii team. I think they got close to playing in a bowl last year. I think this is the year they kind of break through that ceiling, and they become bowl eligible. And I think it starts in week zero with a dramatic and emphatic win over a depleted Stanford roster. So, long story short, the play here: Hawaii minus 2.5. Lock it up. That might factor in my lock of the week. Um, when it comes to the total, I would honestly favor the under in this one. I think this is a good under game. Simply put, I don't trust the Stanford offense at all. Um, and I do trust the Hawaii defense, especially on the island. The home field advantage. Um, Again, it's a veteran team, veteran roster. The Hawaii defense. They brought in a couple guys. They beefed up the defensive line, but they got some veterans in the linebacking core, and a couple seniors and super seniors in the secondary. So I like their experience. I like the fact they've played together, they've been together, they know their assignments. So I'm expecting Hawaii to be more physical, more prepared, and honestly, probably more talented than Stanford is at the moment. Just given the state of the roster, how things have kind of shaken up for Stanford this year. So I'm going to lay the 2.5 with Hawaii. And I would look to the under. I think you're going to see The Rainbow Warriors, they're probably, they're going to score their points. They're probably going to get, say, 24, 28 points. But I'm not expecting much out of the Stanford team. If they get double digits, I'd be impressed. So I think this is probably an under game if I'm looking at it. So that is our slate.